Many demos that you'll see online are typically well-structured, neat things using demo data, and it can be a little bit difficult to see like the real-world applications. So in this video, I spoke to a friend and he gladly allowed me to take him through my Tana setup in a very organic fashion and just asking questions just so I could jump around and show a number of different things. Now, going through this, I recognize many opportunities for improvements, specifically in how the new updates to Tana allow improvements to templates, how different things can be structured, and how I can clean things up in order to make this a little bit more accessible. Now, I'm going to be making those updates in the near future and releasing those in the latest Tana course, or in the updates to the Tana course, which I'm currently working on. However, I'm just leaving this video as it is because it's rough and I have realized how much room there is in my own delivery in improving how I talk about Tana and also some mannerisms, etc. But whatever, I'm just going to release it into the public domain because I think it might be valuable to some people. So I hope you find it valuable. And if you have any feedback or questions or comments, please let me know and I will try and incorporate that into the latest updates. You'll see in the participants, there's another sneaky little guy called Tana Inc. Meetings, which is like a recorder for the meeting. So what that's doing is it's transcribing everything, and afterwards it will give us like a little summary. Show self view. Otherwise it doesn't record me. And just shout if you have any questions. I'm going to just share my screen, and then I hope it records that too. I think it will. Because I found this to be really valuable for just how I manage the workday. So you can see here live, it's doing this transcript down here because now if I hover over it, won't work. But like basically, it's got this in-call transcribing feature, which uses some AI model. But yeah, so I just have to join the meeting from this thing, and then this is where the last screen I was before I came to you. I'm just going to also zoom in. But like the way that I start is from my today node. And you can see here on the way that it's set up is like it brings in your agenda from Google Calendar, and they work on an Outlook thing. So I don't know what you guys use. I think you guys use Google Calendar.
We use Google. Yeah.
So these are all things for the day. This is like the red ones are showing things that there's a meeting for, and then the blue ones are just like my random things. So yeah, like I'm going to contact Improv again tonight. And then if I collapse this, I get all these different aspects that I can like look at. So these are my overdue tasks. This is a query that says like, when I have a task, I have like I can open up a set of properties for each thing that I'm entering into Tana. So for instance, on the day, these are essentially properties of the day. So focus items, things that I want to do, things that I complete. This is like a bit of an artifact. Like when I was trialing different dosages for medication for ADHD, I would enter it from like a drop down menu basically. So if you think of it as like data validation in Excel, I can say the type of property needs to choose from something existing in my workspace. So I would then say, for this medication, and then I'd just make a couple of notes and see like how things were landing. But yeah, as I said, this is that jumping around aspect. So not super structured. But anyways, on the tasks here, this is a task. It's just not showing that because of the space there. I can then enter a due date. And I've got this due date Monday, the 27th of May. So this is just something that I've been putting off. But it's not like a big deal. Like I know that it's in the back of my mind that I need to do this. And like, I'm probably going to do it this week, but it's like a huge thing, but at least I know that like, that's like one of the things that I need to catch. I've actually got no tasks to do this week. So like I could, hypothetically, I could say I need to do this week, or I need to do this by this date. And then it would filter into this little filter here. So yeah, I can collapse and expand these things as necessary. The cool thing that I really like is this inbox. So over the weekend, I will like take notes on my phone or even just, as I'm speaking now, I can show you there's a thing called it's called Tana Capture. And I'm taking a quick little voice note, and within like a couple of seconds, it's going to be up on the screen. So yeah, and I can also there's a voice note. As it comes up, I've got this function to transcribe it.
Yeah.
So this is really good for emails. Like I often just like quickly dictate an email, and there you can see it's transcribed over here. So that's
Oh,
super
wow. Nice.
powerful. I can like you can also take pictures and yeah, I mean whatever's on my desk here will come up. So I typically process these and like put them into tasks. Okay, there's an
Mm,
image that's just come up there. So coffee, tea, or me. I I process these into like tasks.
mm,
These are all books that I want to buy. It's weird because these are like I wouldn't really call it a task, but I then cut them into my day node, and then I just say select them all, Command K, add tag books. So, this is actually a special case because like my parents are coming back from the UK, and I want them to buy those books for me. So these are already entered in my database somewhere,
yeah.
but like you can't like these are very difficult to get the physical copies of in South Africa. Like this
Yeah.
Eden
Yeah.
Project, Original Love. Original Love is a very new book. I think you'd like this, which is like if I go to books, it opens up all of the books that like I've entered into my workspace. So
Nice.
these are all the different recommendations. And okay, here's an interesting thing. If I go to your name there, or I can filter
Mm,
by who recommended it or like who recommended it to me. So if I say filter and then recommended by Carl Porter Clark, what have you recommended me? Algebra of Happiness and the Case Against Education, and I'll teach you to
oh,
be rich. So it's like very powerful from a filtering perspective. And
mm,
if I go to this like this meeting example here, okay, so I've set up some filters or some
mm,
views at the top here for meetings, which are meetings this week, meetings next week, meetings last week, because like often you just want to be able to like review what's coming up. So like this week, these are the meetings that I have. And you can see the cool thing is I can also relate it to a project. So this is a project
mm,
that I'm doing. I'm trying to keep things discrete in case I have to do demos. So like FinOps Consulting. And if I go there, let's see what I have there. Let me just close that. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can see here that I've got next steps.
mm,
Again, I've got like a whole bunch of different things. I just like to be able to go and land and see what it is that I need to do in any given thing. So if I just collapse here, I've also got like all my like the resources for Excel and whatever like that I need to go back to or the spreadsheets. I just drop
mm,
the links in one place. So it just removes that like retrieval aspect of like, oh, where did I drop this? Or where did I find this? Like everything is
mm,
available for me here. Yeah. So it doesn't come stock standard like this. Like I've had to set things up, but the the way they've set things up is starting to like improve or to facilitate new users to get like into this sort of space very quickly where you can just like, go and find a thing. So for instance, like on my left here, you'll see I've pinned these nodes. So like to pin a node, I can just like, if I unpin this there, I can literally just drag and drop it to the side, and then it's pinned. So it's like all the projects that you want to focus on or whatever are like very quickly available. If I go to my projects, it will open up like a list of all the projects that I have ongoing essentially. Now this is probably not super accurate, but or I could consolidate this because like I actually think of things in like different sizes. So like there's projects, there's chunks which are between projects and tasks, and then
mm,
tasks. Actually, these are all big projects, but they're not like things that I'm actively focused on. Like they're just like in some senses ideas or like things that I want to keep top of mind, and yeah.
mm.
So I'm just going rogue here. Is there anything that like you are seeing or wanting to or wondering about like how you might structure it or do it yourself?
Yeah, I think one thing that came to mind is how do you organize and then do things throughout the week?
Yeah. Okay. So the way that I do it is if you go to your today node, you'll see in each of the time sort of categories, I have this focus items and then completed. And this is like I think of these things as like little boxes for the day or boxes for the week. Because if I
Mm,
right click up here, I can say go to this week, And then I also have like focus items and then completed and some other things here, which are, I don't really often fill these things out. They're sort of relics from things that I was trying to do. For me, it's really like the focus items and completed. So I have these 4 things that I need to do this week, like send provisional tax numbers, follow up with Matt about new Tana accounts. Hi, Matt, if you watch this. And then confirm these refunds. And I also have like a whole bunch of tasks. I don't know if I can actually open these. I probably can. I'm just wondering what's in here. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of tasks that I could theoretically drop into this week if I need to. But like, this is just things that I've entered in with tasks, like things that I need to get back to. So it's like a full long list. And yeah, I guess I can just show this. So hypothetically, if I wanted to do something this week, like reach out to Tosi for coaching, I could just drag and drop it. So it's like, that's why I say I think about it as boxes. And I can also like enter hypothetically dates in there. So if I were to say, due date, let's say I'm going to change this to today or tomorrow. If I go back to today and I close this thing here, you'll see that the tasks due this week will now show what I've just entered there. So that's like, there's a couple of ways of doing it. I like to think of things as like I pick from a menu and I drop it. But then I've created this query here which looks at things that I wanted to do. So this is days from this week and last week. So it's like all the focus items and all the completed. So it's just like an overview of like the things that I wanted to do, and then I'd either move them to do or completed. So for instance, you can see like this is weeks. So for the weeks last month and this month, I've also got this like high level zoomed out thing of like all the different tasks or things that I wanted to do. But you'll see like I'm quite like rough about how I move things and how I classify them. Because I think like trying to like rigidly move everything and like make sure I'm grabbing it, like I got this rebellious mindset where if I try and like build a system to like make sure I do everything, I like end up not doing it. But here I know that I've got like a good overview of all the things. So I can just quickly like zoom through it and be like, I'm okay. Like I don't need to do any of these things really. Like they're sort of like on my radar. And that's actually another tag which I have, which is like radar. So it's like things that like, yeah. You can see here, like buying a house or whatever. Like it's not like I can't have that as a task or like
It's not like a task for Tuesday.
yeah. Or like I want to go on a Kosa retreat. It's like, where do I put that? Random stuff like this. It just gets like a hashtag radar and it goes on here. So it's like this is a long list, and it's just nice to be able to like reach out not reach out, to go back and look at these things to make sure that like, every now and again, like I don't have a structure of how I do this, but yeah, I think we chatted about like the Ray Dalio Principles book, like where he talks about like scenarios in the workplace as being another one of those. So I've tried to think about like things in that sense, like what is this item? It's something that's on my radar, but it's not like a task or it's not a project. So yeah, let me put it like that. So that's the way I've tried to break it down. So for instance, ideas is another tag, like, that's an idea for something like a project or this. There might be some overlap. And then if necessary, I could then say, Khalakadi trip, which you guys have just done sort of, I would just say add tag ideas. So it can live in more than one place. And then it comes up by queries. So like I could enter anything anywhere. And these are just searches. So, basically save searches that are looking for anything that's on my radar and not done. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
That's like another mindset, which is like I don't have to worry about where I entered it. I just have to know. I just have to be able to search it. And their search functionality is also really good. So like if I say Control S and I say Kyle, there we go. You can see this is the transcription still happening right now, but yeah, it's quite easy. I mean, there's another meeting that we had, where we chatted about like a single course. Yeah. So yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's helpful. So to to play it back, it sounds like you have like a running list of things that are on your mind or on your radar. You also have your task list. And then for each week, you can look at some of the things that you have lined up for the week, and you can kind of pull things in or tag them as you need to. And then for each day, you can kind of break that down into tasks
Yeah.
connected back to whatever information is available throughout the whole database.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And another thing which I think might be useful for you is like if I go to your name here, if I go to any person's name, you can see here I've got like linked references. So anytime, you appear as recommended by in these books,
yeah,
you
got you.
you
Shows
appear as attendee there. Other things like I've got a tag which is like, okay, get contact details for Sean. Okay, so that we chatted about that. I actually completely forgot about that. But if I just go to your person tag and like, I find like these different things that come up like as reminders. So if you having meetings with people, for instance, and this is just something that I created now, is like I can also create. Let me just go to this page where I
Yeah.
say on this day, Wednesday, I said send email to Sean, and I said delegated, and I say delegated to Carl Porter Clark, hypothetically. So if I go to Carl Porter Clark, and you can see here, there's our walk, there's the meetings that I had today. It's like just like this linked, the way that everything like links and
Yeah,
flows.
everything's
It's
all connected
really, really
together.
powerful. Any questions? Any?
Well, I guess one thing would be, do you have a sense of how people use this in companies? Like you mentioned Outlook. So like what does the enterprise situation look like?
I think that that's something that they're working on quite a bit. I'm I know Tana themselves use it to manage their workspace, but like I don't. My gut feel of this is that it's not like enterprise ready just yet. Like I mean, I wouldn't. Well, maybe I don't know. This is my own opinion. So like scaling this to a whole organization is it's like the mental models of like using an outliner, using tags, like having these navigation bars or whatever is a little bit like, there's a lot of friction in like big organizations. So like,
Yeah.
even Notion, like I find people really struggle with Notion, like the sidebar and like where do I enter things and like, how do I build systems? Like this is like very, very much, I think at like the end user stage rather than like the enterprise stage. I think they're really working on like ways to like make it work out the box for a company. You'll see here that like one of the projects that I have is like build a Tana for Teams template, but I've just like paused that because everyone works in different ways, and like trying to force my ways on everyone else, like I imagine people would hate some of the things that I do. So yeah, I think they're working on like UX usability stuff so that it's more, yeah, easy to adopt as a team, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's complicated.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because you mentioned the Outlook piece. And then as I'm thinking about to-dos, like I use Asana, for instance, and that integrates with Google. So I can take emails and I can put them into, the project management stuff and list things out. And then there's this whole question of, all right, well, then how do you work with other people? And honestly, I haven't even cracked that yet because we're on a couple different pieces of software from a project management standpoint. So
yeah, I mean, that's even simple functions like being able to take an email and putting it in like a task that I don't think is, well, I haven't seen that. Maybe there is a function, but like I haven't seen that yet. So I'm still having to say, convert this email to a task. And then I'll copy the link and paste it there if I need to be able to reference it. It's a bit clunky.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, people build plugins that enable you to do that, but like I don't like using external things. Like it must be like, it must work.
Yes,
I don't
like
wanna-
native.
Yeah, exactly. Native. That's the right word. Anyways, yeah, that's Tana.
Cool. Thanks for that.
I wonder if, well, afterwards I'll be able to go to this meeting that we have today and then like show you the transcript. But like, that's quite cool what it does, like in terms of consolidating the notes. it tries to make action items. It tries to find things that like might be linked. So it's getting quite clever. And I think they're
Yeah.
really working on improving that, like that
Mhm.
aspect of it. So closing the loop on the meeting recorder. As I said, if I click here, it says meeting notes processed, but that's all the stages that it went through. It joined the call, it did the transcription, and then it processed them. It gives me the summary, and then it gives me these discovered items. So a couple of things that it's discovered well, but I wanted to just show you, like, here's a summary of what it said. Carl asked about the enterprise use of Tana and its integration. Dario mentioned that Tana is not yet enterprise ready. Harsh view. They discuss the challenges of scaling Tana for large organizations. So really nice little summaries that are quite accessible. I like using this where applicable, but obviously if you are working in an organization or you're joining someone's call and suddenly this little meeting notes thing comes up, it might be worthwhile just to give someone a heads up that says, hey, I've got a recorder that's going to come in place. I think this is going to become one of the etiquette of online meetings because there's so many of these AI recorders available. But Tana's is built in, and you can also use the inbuilt AI functionality, but that's a topic for another video. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Kyle for willingly being the participant in this demonstration. And as I mentioned, I am busy making updates to the Tana course. It's currently still available at the launch price. I'm going to review that and see how it goes. Lots of things are changing and it will probably require a lot of work. My goal is not to chase Tana software in the sense that I will chase every update, but to at least allow for macro principles that are very usable down the line. And if you've watched the course, I'm sure you can agree that it is looking more than just the click here, do this. It's rather thinking on a higher level of how to structure your workspace. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully those updates will be out in the next few weeks.